All right, guys, we're going to talk about one of the most anticipated films of the years from pretty much every demographic, and that's the Super Mario Bros. Movie. So the Super Mario Bros. Movie is an animated movie based on the Nintendo video game property that's been going on for our lifetime, my age, my whole lifetime, and many years before that. So this game's been around for a while. They had the weird 90s version of the live action movie they did that didn't go so hot. So, it's been like 30 years since, and, Nintendo doesn't usually license out their rights to their properties for movies and shows and stuff that often. So when this got greenlit with the same studio that does the Minions, by the way, I had a little bit of optimism. I mean, the Despicable Me movies and some of those Illumination movies were pretty solid. I enjoyed those quite a bit. And as soon as the first trailers come out, the animation style to this, they brought the video game that we all know and love to life. And I was very, very excited about this film. And the story here, we'll talk about the story in a little bit. But I think they nail a lot of the visuals in this. A lot of the gripes people had going into the movie were the voice cast. Like, people didn't think Chris Pratt sounded like Mario, and that was the big controversy. And, with it being an animated film, that doesn't bother me. I think actually in the film, Chris Pratt does a pretty good job. I bought him as Mario. Did he do the, typical Mario, wahoo, and yeah, let's go, all the stereotypical Italian accent stuff? He gets away with it a few times in the film. That makes sense. But, I mean, on the whole, it didn't bother me that he didn't do the entire movie as the Mario voice. As a matter of fact, I think that would have been really annoying. I actually think the voice cast here is pretty solid. Charlie Day is Luigi, Jack Black is Bowser, Keegan-Michael Key is Toad, Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach, and the list goes on and on. I mean, it's a great, solid voice cast. The animation's fantastic. It'll blow everybody away. It's gorgeous to look at. A video game brought to life, in a sense. Video game brought to animated life, I suppose. But here we go. My big problem with the film is the story. It really bummed me out seeing this film because I'd heard going in, starting to trickle out like, hey, this is an entertaining film, but the story lacks a lot to be desired. And I was like, well, we'll see. I mean, everybody's got their own feelings. Without spoiling anything in the movie, I'm going to try to best go through my big problem, which is this story, and it blows my mind how, I gotta say it, how bad this story is. And I hate saying it. It hurts me in my gut because there's so much of this movie that works. But when I'm sitting there 10, 15 minutes into the movie nodding off because it's boring, it irks me a little bit. It really bums me out. In the movie here, Bowser is going around trying to take over the Mushroom Kingdom. What specific reasons why he wants to take it over, I will not spoil here, but if you are a fan of the Mario games, you might have a clue as to what he's actually up to. And it's up to Mario and Luigi to save the day, but Mario and Luigi get separated. We see that in the trailers, and it's up to Mario to first find Luigi to then also save the day. And along the way, they meet some other Nintendo characters that you're familiar with, and that's the story. The basic story should work, but what they do here is, they kind of ease you into this world, and this different version of the Mario world, which is fine, but everything just happens so fast. There's no room to really breathe and to let these characters be characters. Some people might not have a problem with that because when you play the video game, you already know the characters. You've lived with these characters in your game console for decades. But in terms of a movie, it actually doesn't set up the character relationships as well as you would want. Like Mario and Toad, they meet for 3 seconds and they're best friends for some reason. Just, okay, I don't know how that works. Mario meets Peach in such a way that actually he should probably be put in a dungeon in prison for breaking and entering. Nope, she wants to train him to help her stop Bowser. Like, it happens like that. I thought I nodded off and missed something, but I didn't. It's just, everything happens so quick. Like, there's no real depth to relationships other than Mario and Luigi because you get to spend time with them at the beginning. And everything else just feels like the story was structured in such a way that it was, this happens, then this happens, then this happens, then this has to happen, then this happens, then this happens, then this happens. And While everybody would think that's how basic stories are kind of made, to get to a beginning and an end, it really should be this happens because of this happening, because of that happening, therefore this happens. Structuring it's just slightly different, giving it a little more reasoning and connecting things and letting things breathe to allow us as an audience to buy into the fact that, yes, this is a ridiculous video game world where a lot of the rules and mechanics don't make sense unless you play the video games. So for people who aren't familiar with the games, how about dumbing it down just a little bit and building a unique world? And it's just like they have the world here, they literally build the world, but they don't let us in on this world building aspect of introducing us to this world. It's just there, and they expect you to know everything, and you're in and out in an hour and a half, and I found myself just bored to death half the time, despite there being great, fantastic visuals, besides the voice cast actually being pretty decent, and a great soundtrack, a lot of great music in this, based on the video game, they use a lot of that music, so it's fun, and it's fantastic in that aspect. But the rest of it, I just couldn't get connected to the story, and it all comes down to that. And when you don't have that, the rest deflates so easily, and it bums me out to say that I'm going to be giving this film a C-. This it really bums me out. It was one of my most anticipated films of the year, and it had the story even been just marginally better, to just like decent, where I was like, okay, they tried. It might have even sat at like maybe a B-. That's the big difference that story means to me when giving these grades. It matters, and I don't feel like they cared enough about the story. They were too busy being focused on getting the visuals right, getting the sound effects and Easter eggs in there to trigger the nostalgia. Because hey, people are gonna see this and feel nostalgic and probably enjoy it. And hey, good for you. I'm glad for you. I really want people to enjoy this film. For me, it just didn't work like I wanted it to. It even makes me don't even think I want to see a sequel to this, to be honest with you. Could they improve upon it? Sure, but right now I'd be hesitant about it. Also, speaking of Easter eggs and stuff, there are 2 post-credit scenes, a mid-credits and one at the very end. And to be honest with you, if you don't enjoy this movie by the time the credits roll, you might as well not bother sitting through to those credits. You can get up and leave, get to your car, get home, do something else. If you didn't enjoy the movie, then the 2 post-credit scenes are probably worth sticking around for. Especially if you're a big Mario fan. I mean, they kind of tease something in the movie. You see something, and you're like, oh, there's that. And then it just comes back in the post-credit scene. So it is what it is. So yeah, guys, are you excited to see the Super Mario Brothers movie? Have you seen it? What do you think about it? Are you on the same page as me where the story was just not that good? Or did you enjoy it? I'm very curious. Let me know down in the comments below. Because I want to hear, what people's thoughts were, if you loved this or if you didn't. It's just I think this is going to be one of those movies that's going to split people. So we'll see. And until the next review, guys, I'll be seeing you.